It's the fight for the soul of the Republican Party. Now that Republicans in the Senate have picked their new leaders, Republicans in the House are battling to pick theirs. And who wins may determine whether the face of the GOP will be more moderate or more conservative. And joining us now, Republican Congressman John Shadegg of Arizona. He wants to be the minority whip. He's challenging Roy Blunt, who was on this program yesterday. What do you bring to the table that Roy Blunt doesn't bring, Congressman?
I think basically a fresh face. We got shellacked in this election. The American people, I think, are trying to send us a message. If we reelect the exact same two top leaders that we had going into the election, when we come out of the election, I think we will have said to the American people, we don't really care about the fact that you want change. And I think we will have said to them, yes, we've become Washington-focused, and we want to stay Washington-focused. I don't think we can stay Washington-focused if we want the majority back. I think we have to stay focused on the American people and their agenda, what they'd like to see us doing.
So you don't want John Boehner to be the minority leader either. You're supporting Mike Pence.
No, very careful about that. I said if we reelect both of our existing leaders, I think that Mr. Boehner has probably the inside track. And I think if we reelect him, mind you, he's only been there 8 months. My opponent has been there 8 years. My opponent's been in this job for 2/3 of the years, one job or the other, chief deputy whip or whip, 2/3 of the time that we've been in the majority. 8 of the 12 years, he's been either chief deputy whip or whip. I think it's time for change. And if we're not going to change at the majority leader's level, or to majority leader, then I think it's vital that we change at least one of the top two offices and tell the American people we got the message. We understand we lost focus on what they want us to be doing.
But let me press you on this. Are you going to support personally Boehner or Pence?
I'm not supporting anybody in that race. I believe that race needs to be decided on its merits. I'm not running as a ticket with anybody on that race. And like about everybody else that's in one of these races, if you're in a race, you take care of your race. I am not endorsing or publicly supporting.
You'll vote for one of them in that secret ballot, I assume.
I guess I'll have to vote for one of them in that secret ballot.
But you're not announcing who you're going to support?
No.
Okay. Let me read to you what you said in one of the reasons why you want to be the minority whip. Federal spending and government expansion increased at an alarming rate. More importantly, we became the party of secret backroom dealing that was sadly reminiscent of the scandal-plagued Democratic Congress we once railed against. That's a damning indictment of Dennis Hastert and John Boehner and Roy Blunt.
It's a damning indictment of us. I don't think you can blame just our leaders. I think we said in 1994 that we would be different. We would not be politics as usual. We would not allow, for example, powerful members to pull the levers of power in their benefit. And yet we did. We allowed the Cunningham scandal to happen, the Abramoff scandal to happen, Ney to get involved in it and didn't do much about Ney even after we learned of him. We've allowed an explosion in earmarks, and earmarks aren't even fair, Wolf. We allow powerful members to get huge earmarks and other members to get tiny earmarks. That's not what we told the American people we would do. We told them that we were going to be different. It was not going to be politics as usual in Washington. We were going to change the way Washington works. And then we got Washington-focused, Washington-centered, cozy with lobbyists, quite frankly, and lost our focus. And I think if you're not willing to look backward in the face of this kind of defeat and assess why it happened, well, then you're going to do it over again. I suppose one of the definitions of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. I think we need new leaders, and we need a new focus, and that focus has to be not on a cozy Washington life for ourselves, but the concerns of the average American.
One final question, Congressman, before I let you go. How much of the blame is on the Republicans in Congress, as you say? How much of the blame for the thumping you took lies directly with the President of the United States and his policies?
I think it's both there. I was frustrated on the war that we didn't more aggressively pursue victory. But it's important to understand that Congress is a separate branch of government. And I think as a Congress, we should have stood up to the President on some of these issues and said, look, this isn't enough. On just stay the course, the Congress had an opportunity and a chance and an obligation to say, Mr. President, stay the course is not something the American people will be satisfied with. They will support a policy that's win or a policy that's something other than win, but they don't want to just see us in a stagnant war where we're not winning, but American kids are losing their lives. And we could have stood up to the White House and made that point. One of the things I criticize about our current leadership is we should have been more aggressively standing for the House Republicans and fighting for our position in these issues.
John Shadegg wants to be the minority whip in the United States Congress. We'll know on Friday. It's a secret ballot. You never know what those congressmen are going to do once they get into that closed-door room. Thanks very much, Congressman, for coming in.
Thank you.
And up next, deadly severe weather.